First of all, let me greet you a very happy new year. This is my home cooking and adventures. Wishing you the best of 2023. And today, our first recipe post for the 2023 is Filipino Spanish bread, or we call it Spanish bread. I am sure that you've seen a lot of this post everywhere in the web because this bread is very famous in the Philippines and in the world. So before I troll you more, let's start the recipe and let's begin the cooking. So let's start by mixing all the dry ingredients. Let's start from the 4 cups of sifted flour. Sifting is to lose and breaks all those big particles in the flour. Let's add another ingredients with half teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of sugar, and a sachet of instant yeast. This is about 2.5 teaspoons. You can also use active yeast using the warm with sugar in it, using your fluid in the recipe. Next, calling for the recipe is 4 tablespoons of warm butter. Now let's begin the mixing procedures into your bowl. Start from the dry ingredients. Add a warm cup of fresh milk, a warm 4 tablespoons of butter, and a room temperature of 1 egg. Okay, let's spin the electric mixer in a slow mode until all the ingredients are well combined. You can also add a food coloring or yellow food coloring, but this is also optional. You can also skip if you don't want it. I just want to have a little yellowish the way I see it in the bakery way back in the Philippines. It's starting to form as a dough, but it will take 5 to 10 minutes before we stop it and need some more before you put it or we put it into the bowl and cover it with warm towel or saran plastic. Now it's soft and well mixed. We're now going to transfer it into a pad or kneading pad or to the bowl, and we'll need some more before we cover it for probing or to expanding. So heto na, let's knead some more. There is no wrong of how you knead it. You can knead the way you want it. By the way, if you have a big bowl like what you see here, you can just add a warm water, top with your bowl with the dough. It will help to rise it faster because in my places it's very cold right now and I want to rise it within an hour, so that's why I did it. So if you don't have the big one, just use the small one. Put the hot water and it will also help. With the moist of it, will help also to ripen. And also what I did is I warmed the oven before I put it enough not to cook my dough. So here it is. It rise enough. We actually don't need to rise it all the way to the top of the bowl. As long as you see it is probe and rise, it is good enough. Only means that the yeast is effective and it's probing. Okay, let's knead some more or masahin lang mabuti before we form it into the bread. The reason is because we have to release the air or bubbles in the bread, and then once we form it into a bread sizes, we are going to have another probing or rising before the final cooking. Okay, let's move to the filling. In a hot pan, let's add a 1 cup plain breadcrumbs, a tablespoon of regular flour, and we're going to give a little bit toast before we add the butter and the sugar. The toasty also give the flavor to the filling. Okay, as you can see here has a little bit brown in it. Now let's add a 1 stick or 8 tablespoon of or half cup of butter and 1/2 cup of water and a cup of brown sugar. Now let's give some stir, mix all well, and once it's combined, then let's add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. In the filling, you don't need to cook it long as it's well combined and some boiling, and it is done. We are not going to cook it longer because if you do, it will stick together and it will become dough. We still want our filling to have a small particles that we can taste when you eat the Spanish bread, or like a sandy textures of the breadcrumbs. The way you see in the video, that's how long I cook this filling, and then we're going to put it aside as soon as we turn off the heat. Okay, let's get back to our dough. The total bread I made with this dough is about 24 pieces. If you want bigger, you can make up to 20 pieces. And the way I did is I shape it into rectangles so it's easy for me to form as soon as I flatten it. Now as you can see here, I'm filling it the filling that I made earlier and roll it the way how the Spanish bread shape. And then we're going to moisten it with the regular water before we roll it to the breadcrumbs or plain breadcrumbs so it's easy the breadcrumb to stick in it. And just continue doing it until you finish all the filling for the Spanish bread. So if you notice that before I put the filling, I moist with water into the dough, so it helps the dough and the filling to moist while you're cooking it, and also it helps to stick. So here it is. It's our Spanish bread. We are going to cover it in frobe or rice more before the final cooking. Now it's time for baking. Let's turn on the oven for 375 to 380 degree Fahrenheit, and we're going to bake it for 11 to 12 minutes only, and it's done. And here is the result of my yummylicious Spanish bread. Hope you enjoy my video. Please don't forget, if you're not subscriber yet, please subscribe, like, and comment below. And I truly appreciated it. Thank you so much and see you next time.